Hola my friends, welcome back to A Life I Choose, the place to be to design your life so you can thrive. Today I want to speak to you about using Lent to help you to break a bad habit and replace it with a good habit, or just start a new good habit that's going to help you to raise your quality of life. My relationship to Lent was kind of weird growing up. I understood it as 40 days where you couldn't eat chocolate. And I loved chocolate as a kid and I still love chocolate, so for me it was just absolute deprivation. I didn't really get it, and what I understood was that then Easter Sunday would come and you could just binge the fuck out. For me it was kind of strange, and when I got into my teenage years I very much rebelled against the whole Catholic thing, and I stopped partaking in Lent. And it was only a few years ago, about 7 years ago, when Pete and I started dating, that we challenged each other to do Lent again. So what happened was, Lent was coming up, and the first year of our relationship, Pete and I used to kind of we hadn't figured out how to be together yet, and we were kind of mean to each other, in all honesty. And we kind of challenged each other. We were like, okay, let's see who can go the longest for these, let's see who can make it through these 40 days without our favorite food. So I gave up chocolate and he gave up pasta and bread. And we bet, I can't remember what we bet, but we bet something about who would quit first. I think I quit first. I made it up until day 33, and then I was scoffing down M&Ms like there was no tomorrow. Although it's possible that Pete quit first and didn't tell me, but I don't know. So anyway, it was like a reintroduction to Lent, but it wasn't a very positive one, and it kept the same meaning as before. The next year, Lent was coming up again, and we were at a point in our relationship where we were trying to decide whether we wanted to be together and make our relationship grow, or whether we were gonna call it quits. We decided to use Lent that year to grow together instead of torturing each other or betting on who was going to quit first, trying to outdo the other. At the time we were both super into slam poetry. If you don't know what slam poetry is, it's basically poets who perform their poetry, and it's really beautiful and inspiring, and you can come across some really amazing poets, so definitely check it out. Since we enjoyed watching slam poetry so much, we're like, okay, let's practice our poetry, but let's do it for the sake of our relationship. Let's do it to communicate with each other. So what we did was, I set up a blog. I created a blog just for us that only we could see, and we agreed that for 40 days, for all of Lent, we would each write a poem every day, and we would read each other's poem, and we would respond to each other's poems by giving feedback, not on the quality of the poetry itself, but on what was being communicated. And so it started. And at the beginning, Pete kind of didn't take it so seriously, and I was like, oh, you're either in or you're out, kind of. I'm not going to be writing poetry every day, if you're not participating. That's not the way it works. So then Pete jumped on board, and we did it, and we did it for 40 days, and it was a super interesting process. It was interesting for us because the poetry allowed us to get in touch with ourselves and to understand what was happening within ourselves. And because we were communicating it to each other, we understood each other better, and also because we had to respond, that was one of the rules. We were acknowledged. What we were saying was acknowledged. It wasn't just, kind of falling on deaf ears. It was okay, I see how you feel, and this is my response to how you feel. And it was a really interesting process. We almost broke up during that process, but when we got to the end of the 40 days, we were so much closer, and we understood each other so much better. And I really believe it was a fundamental growth stage in our relationship, and both of us, we always look back at those 40 days with a lot of fondness. We call it the 40 days of poetry, and it was a really spiritually deepening experience for us, because it deepened our relationship spiritually. So that was when Lent really changed its meaning for me. And I started to see that Lent was actually a 40-day challenge. And it was a 40-day challenge for me to enrich my relationship with myself and to enrich my relationship with others. Whether this was through abstaining from something that wasn't good for me, or whether it was through practicing something that was good for me. So the next year, I committed to practicing mindfulness meditation daily, and then that became a habit, and my understanding of mindfulness meditation became even deeper, and I started to see the benefits of practicing mindfulness on a daily basis. Last year, I decided to abstain from alcohol because I wanted to understand my relationship with alcohol. Like, why do I crave alcohol when I'm in social situations and feeling nervous? What would it be like if I abstained? Would I call on my resourcefulness even more? And actually, you can watch a video about what came out of my 40 days of abstaining from alcohol. I'll link it below. It's called How to Not Suck at Networking. I know it doesn't sound directly related, but just watch the video and you'll see what came out of those 40 days. How it enriched my life, my social relationships, and how it enriched my business as well, because I understood how I was using alcohol to stay away from social relationships. Basically, Lent took on a whole new meaning for me. It's become a significant part of my life, and every year I look forward to it. And so Lent is starting tomorrow, and I wanted to share this with you because it's a fantastic opportunity. Whether you're religious or not, whether you're Catholic or not, Lent is like a fantastic opportunity to just commit to something. It's to commit to challenging yourself to grow. So what I suggest is that if you want to do Lent this year, define what your outcome is. So what is your outcome for this Lent? It's really important that your outcome is not about eliminating something, but it's about growing in some way. It's about enriching your life in some way. So for example, when I cut out alcohol last year, I didn't focus on my outcome being, I don't want to drink alcohol. I focused on my outcome being, I want to experience myself without alcohol in social situations so that I can call on an inner resourcefulness that is going to make me feel even stronger and is going to expand my sense of self. And this really drove me. Another example could be, I commit to practicing gratitude on a daily basis so that I can experience a more grateful and appreciative way of being in the world. After defining your outcome, then move on to why you want to do this. So just list as many reasons as you can think of for why you want to do this. So for example, why do you want to experience yourself without alcohol? For me, last year it was because I haven't done this since I was a teenager, and because all my adult life I've known socializing with alcohol. I want to know what it's like to socialize without alcohol, because I want to be able to relax without needing alcohol in social situations, because I want to trust myself, I want to trust my body, I want to trust my mind, I want to be in complete control of when I choose to be in a specific state. I don't want to depend on external substances like alcohol, like pills, like anything. I don't want to depend on external substances to soothe me. I want to choose them when I want them, but I don't want to depend on them. So that was my driving force, right? If your outcome is practicing gratitude, then why do you want it? Maybe it's because, for example, I tend to feel down on a more often than not, and I want to experience more joy. I've noticed that I tend to see what's not in my life, and I want to start seeing what is in my life, because I've been researching the art of manifestation, and I know that to be able to manifest what I want in my life, I need to be able to be appreciative of what's already in my life. So you can make a list of all the reasons you want to practice this. Then you create your strategy. So my first tip for your strategy is tell people, right? Very often at the beginning of Lent, we don't actually believe that we're going to make it to the end unless we've done it before. Then we have more belief that we can do it. But if it's new to you, it's like, oh my God, will I make it? I'm not sure that I'll get there. And because we fear that we won't make it, we don't commit, we don't tell people. Okay, we keep it to ourselves, but we don't tell people. And because we don't tell people, we have no witnesses. And because we have no witnesses, we have an easy way out. We have a get out of jail free card. So my very first suggestion is tell people. Tell at least 3 people who will hold you accountable. Even if they don't hold you accountable, just the process of telling someone, hey, for the next 40 days I'm doing this, or I'm meditating every day, or I'm not drinking alcohol in social situations, and I'm going to calm myself down whenever I need to, or whatever. Just that act of telling someone helps you to commit. So the next thing to ensure your success is, if, for example, you are trying to remove a habit from your life. So let's say you go home, and when you go home, you tend to comfort eat or stress eat, and you want to remove that habit. What I suggest is you replace that habit with something else. Maybe you decide to shift your state when you get home so that you don't need the comfort eating to shift your state for you. So for example, you could go home, and instead of grabbing the bag of crisps, you sit down and you meditate for 5 minutes. And the act of breathing deeply will shift your state for you into one that is calmer, into one that is choiceful, and into one that isn't reactive. So you're not just going stress, eat. You're going stress, breathe, choice. I can eat if I want to. I can also choose to eat something that nourishes me, that I actually taste, and that I don't feel like shit afterwards for eating. So what I suggest is replace the bad habit with a good habit. I also suggest that you schedule whatever you need to schedule. So if your practice is going to be to meditate every day, use your phone, right? Our phones are constantly disrupting us. They're constantly bringing stress and adding pressure to our lives. So if you're gonna have a phone, make it work for you. So schedule your time for meditation, right? Have it remind you when you're gonna do it, and then stick to it. So it's 15 minutes in the morning, and for those 15 minutes or for those 5 minutes, you're meditating. And my last tip is plan a reward for yourself. What you're doing is cool. What you're doing is a good thing. You are choosing to own your life, to improve the quality of your life. You're choosing to enrich your relationship with yourself. Therefore, when you enrich your relationship with yourself, when you like yourself better, when you have a better relationship with yourself, you treat the people around you better. So what you're doing is a good thing. So I really strongly recommend that you celebrate that achievement, because when you do something good, you need to reward it so that you keep taking more positive action. If you just treat it like it was no biggie, or if you punish yourself for not doing it well enough, you're not going to do it again. Okay, so when you get to the end of those 40 days, celebrate. And I want you to pick your celebration from before. So it could be like a nice meal out with your friends, or it could be maybe a little trip somewhere, or it could be a massage, or it could be something that's good, something that's nourishing, something that marks, hey, I made it, that was awesome. I'm so glad I did that. And also, acknowledge what you got from the experience. Maybe take 5 minutes at the end of the 40 days to just journal. What came out of this experience? What did I learn? What was most challenging? What would I do differently next time? What did I gain from this experience? So this Lent, I'm going to be committing to 15 minutes a day of writing poetry again. I'm in a space where I feel like I need to deepen my understanding of my emotional processes at the moment. I'm experiencing a lot of new emotions lately, not emotions I haven't experienced before, just emotions in a new way, in a new context, and I want to understand them better so that I can function more smoothly and better in my relationships, and just be more present and more mindful. I hope that this video inspires you to commit to a new practice that is nourishing for yourself and that takes your quality of life to a new level. I hope that Lent takes on a completely new meaning for you, and that it becomes an opportunity to create something special and very nourishing. Please let us know, let the community know what you are committing to for these next 40 days. Please give me a like if you enjoyed it. If you gained value from this video, then please remember that sharing is caring. So please share this video with your loved ones and with your friends, and subscribe for more if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm sending you love, and I'll see you next week, baby. Lots of love and happy Lent. Bye.